Chris Ockley here on video chat with Reed Sahadevan, the St. Louis, St. Charles native and former CBC standout. He's a redshirt junior at Tulsa and had a great, 6 weeks past his NCAA cross-country championships berth with the Tulsa Golden Hurricane and talked to me. Take me back. You said growing up, your mom, you played soccer like a lot of kids growing up in St. Louis, and
right.
And you said your mom ran track in high school, and you eventually started running at CBC as a freshman and took off from there. I think all state. I think your junior year in the 3200 and had PRs of 429 as a sophomore for 1600 and 933 in the 3200 as a junior, and we're all state in class 5 in the 3200. And then had some, you said some iron issues that kind of took away the end of your senior track season. But talk to me what it's been like this fall and all the success at Tulsa.
This fall was really fun. We had a huge class of freshman guys that came in and brought a lot of energy to the team, so it was super fun bringing in. I think we had 8 new guys, so the team was a lot different. The team dynamic was a lot different, so it took us some time to kind of sort that out and kind of see where everyone fell in, but it's been really fun training with these guys this fall. We've got a great coaching staff and great group of guys to get in and work with. It makes rolling out of bed at 6:30 a.m. a little bit more manageable when you have those guys to go see every day at practice.
And obviously, Coach Steve Gawley and his son Taylor have done a great job over the last, probably been 18 years that they've been there.
Yeah.
Talk to me your season. You go just a quick recap.
Sure.
Hurricane preview. Your 8th, open up in that 4 mile in 2030. You go to Memphis to the Rhodes Invitational. 11th, Nutty Comb Invitational, the big Wisconsin meet in October. You're 187th overall in that huge race, 6th on the team, middle of October, and then at the American Athletic Conference Champs, you guys just blow the field away as you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15, and 16th, and you were 7th man that day, 16th in pretty solid AAC conference, and then regionals just an hour or so down the road from Tulsa, 47th at the Division I Midwest Regional. That's gotten a lot stronger in the last 10 or 12 years, and 6th man on the team as you run 32 flat on that 10K course at the new Ohio State or Oklahoma State course, as you guys scored 52 points behind the winner Iowa State that had 37. Take me back to that November, whatever it was, 13th, 14th, that Friday in Stillwater, and you guys coming in, with one of your highest rankings ever, and take runner-up and advance to the national title. Tell me what that was like.
We knew going into the race that unless things went drastically wrong, we should be advancing to the national meet, just with the points that we racked up at Nutty Comb.
Sure.
I think we ended up getting 3rd or 4th there. And so we knew just to stay really calm, really composed. That's what the coaches were kind of talking to us about. Just one of the things Taylor said was staying calm in a stressful environment, which is what regionals is, because there are a lot of guys who know it's their last race, a lot of seniors on other teams who are getting their guys all hyped up. So we just knew that, if we stayed calm and everyone who lined up took care of their business, we should be able to survive and advance to the next round.
Yeah. And it's gorgeous. Looks like, they big rehaul, I think a several $1 million revamp of the Oklahoma State course that'll host nationals last year. And so what was it like running that was your first time running regionals, right?
First time running regionals, yeah. First time over 10K. So it was definitely challenging getting in there. There are a lot of quality guys in the region, so just seeing where I fit in with all those guys. It's a great course. I mean, it's super wide. Everyone had enough room to move throughout the race, even as it went back through the forests and stuff. So it's a great course. They've done a great job maintaining it and taking care of it. But I just got in there and competed. I knew our front 5 guys were super solid, so I was just kind of there for insurance if something went wrong. So at 8K, I think our coaches let me know. They were like, hey, like, we've got 5, like, we're good. I was like, sweet. So I just was able to, finish up the race just calm and composed.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, that's a super hilly course. It definitely hurt. So.
Well, and it was nice that you knew that you had 5 guys that were good, and you didn't have to crank it that last 1 or 2K, because 8 days later, you're running a 10K again at nationals. So
exactly.
That had to feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely gives us a lot of confidence running behind those 5 for sure.
And then, tell me what the next week was like as you led up and went to Terre Haute and went to the banquet, and then getting ready to run your first NCAA meet. I think you guys were ranked 6th going in. I think the highest ever team ranking, or correct me if I'm wrong, but just tell me what that was like that week before nationals and how that week transpired.
It was exciting because all season long, like, we wanted to qualify for nationals. Last year we got 30th, second to last at the meet. But we brought back a lot of experienced guys.
It was a pretty miserable day in Madison for the Tulsa men last year. Yeah, to get there is good.
I think those were coming off as we rolled in, so that was a tough one. So our goal at the beginning of the year was to qualify for the meet, and then after running at Nuttycombe in Wisconsin, we knew that we could be pretty good this year.
Yeah.
So again, it was just kind of about trying to stay calm that week. Just our coaches tell us to stay in routine. So we just tried to, get the same amount of sleep we get and eat what we're eating. Just don't change anything.
Yeah.
Just going up to Terre Haute, like, it was a fun trip. We were goofing off the whole time, just trying to keep things really lighthearted until after dinner the night before the meet. Then things got pretty serious for us.
Sure.
We had a team meeting and went over goals and expectations. So I think we went in trying to be a top 10 team. And so the next day, again, just trying to stay calm on the line. I remember the girls ran before us, and one of the girls, her shoe came off.
Oh, no.
It just got sucked off in the mud. So we were scrambling at the last minute to, like, tape our shoes up.
Sure.
Our coaches are like, hey, like, we need you on the line, like, 10 minutes to go. So it was pretty stressful, but eventually we got out there and did our last strides out. And once the race got going, we just knew that we had a really good 5 guys, and whatever me and my roommate was the 7th man, Adam, whatever we could do to help, we tried to go out and do it.
And how were your nerves before the race? Was that the worst they've ever been, or were you feeling pretty good?
I was super nervous. I remember they were playing this, like, really loud, like, music on the line and stuff, and I was like, man, this is the last thing I need right now. I was pretty nervous, but again, I think 5 of our top 7 had run at nationals before. The other guy was Patrick Dever. He ended up getting 11th for us and had run at World Cross.
Right.
So he had been in those types of situations, so I knew the other 6 guys had been in these types of situations. I was like, I'm just going to do what they're doing. I'm kind of the rookie here. So I just kind of followed their lead, and they gave me a bunch of confidence. But I was really nervous, for sure.
And had you run at Terre Haute before, at the Laverne Gibson course before, whether in high school or in college?
No, I went to spectate.
Gotcha. Yeah.
My freshman year, the guys went up and got 11th, so I was there to watch that, but I'd never run the course. It's really nice. The weather was nasty that day, but the course drained really well, and it held up, even with us racing after the girls. The course held up really well, so they did a good job.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. They even closed off parts of the course on Thursday when, trying to warm up on it, and, it was just so bad they had tarps and covered, but
yeah.
And talk to me a little bit about how NCAA's played out for you. I think you go through 253-man race. You finish 197th, I think. Dip under 33 for that 10K, and just miserable, brutal, sloppy conditions which I took a spill and broke a slight piece of my camera. But just talk to me about how the race played out for you individually.
So once the gun went off, I tried to get out. I've heard NCAAs like, you got to get out. You got to get out.
Right.
It's super important. And I think, I got out and suddenly like the 6 guys on my team were just gone. I was like, oh, where'd everyone go? Like I felt like I was running pretty hard. I was trying to get out about as hard as I did at Nuttycombe. There's no way to simulate that NCAA start line. I don't think. I remember our box was pretty far on the left, and I like looked to my right, and it was just an open field, and I was like, oh, I'm getting dropped by the entire field, like awesome. But one of our assistant coaches told us like, hey, it's not going as bad as you think in those big races. Like just stay calm. So there was a brief moment of panic where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to run for 30 minutes by myself and just bring in the trail cart. But I found a way to latch on to the group and move through a couple of guys, and just kept trying to move through guys. There's always someone in front of me for whatever reason. I never got to the front of that thing or anywhere near it, but I just kept trying to move through the field as best I could. But I definitely should have gotten out better. I think going down the hill, I was in like second to last. So. Yeah.
And mentally, how do you stay focused when you're, again, 6 miles a race in 30, plus some minutes, and you got these studs that are just flying over the course, and you got everybody else who's just sucking wind and lungs are burning, and what mentally is going through your mind? Or did you have any cues or things to focus on to keep you in the race and focus on what you needed to do?
I did. I tried to find like other guys who were moving through the field and just work with them, despite not having maybe any teammates to work with there, just because they were all up front. Sure. But I found there was an Iona guy that I worked with really well with throughout some of the field, but really at 5K it's tough to keep moving through guys. Like you're tired, like you said, you're sucking wind. I was definitely one of those guys sucking wind. But I just kept trying to stay calm. I knew that if I panicked, it was like, oh my gosh, this isn't going well, I'd just completely fall apart. I remember there's one point in the race, I think we're almost done. It's like 8K, and I'm like, well, I hope the guys up front are doing a good job because I'm not helping them right now. That's for sure. So it was kind of odd, just because like at that level, I wasn't really pushing back a whole lot of guys like fifth guys, and I certainly wasn't scoring for our team, which was good. So it was almost like an individual race. It's kind of like, well, I'm out here. I'm doing it. But the goal was, for me, it was top 200. Yeah. We think maybe on the right day, I could have been 160, 170. Sure. Might have been my ceiling. But just with how I got out, being in, I think, second or third from last at a K, it could have been a lot worse of a day. So, Coach, we'll take it, try to reload for next year.
Right. And then at what point did you find out that you guys were fifth and had your highest finish ever? The team was ranked 6th going in, you finished 5th. You missed a trophy by, 32 points, I think, behind Iowa State. When did you find out that news, and how kind of a cool celebration was that?
So I didn't realize it. Like, coming across the line, I was pretty shell-shocked, so I didn't look at the board. And I went and I found one of my teammates, and he just had, like, this blank expression on his face. I was like, uh-oh, like, things didn't go very well. I thought for a second that he might have dropped out, but I wasn't thinking very clearly because we were at the finish line, but I wasn't thinking super clearly. So I just kind of found my teammates, and we were all, body temps were dropping pretty rapidly at this point. So I was just trying to get some clothes on and head back to the team tent, but I didn't know how we did until one of our coaches, Chris O'Hare, who came up on the trip with us, I asked him how we did as we were jogging back to the tent. He was like, you guys got fit. I was like, oh, like, let's go. So I was stoked. Some people made the road trip up from Tulsa to Terre Haute. So I went and like found them, celebrated with them, and then we all went back to the tent. And coaches were happy. We were all really happy. It was awesome. Yeah.
And I think you're losing, two? Obviously, you had 2 All-Americans. I think, Patrick Deaver, the junior, and Peter Lynch were 11th and 13th overall, I believe. Yeah. And obviously, I think you only lose 1 or 2 off that top 7 that ran. And so how quickly do you guys come back and think, okay, next year, Nationals are at Oklahoma State, an hour down the road from Tulsa. Let's let's bring home a trophy next year and get up on that podium, not just having 2 All-Americans, but as a team.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. Right now, the focus has kind of shifted to indoor and outdoor, but
Sure.
looking at the fall of this year is really exciting just because we returned so many experienced guys, which is awesome. And we have so many young guys. We brought in 8 freshmen, and they're all working really hard, and they're going to be competing for those spots too. So they're going to force us returners to be a whole lot better.
Right.
Which is what you want. So it's gonna be an awesome team. We're just gonna have to focus on keeping everybody healthy, and hopefully we're able to show up and hit it right, and we'll see how next year goes.
Yeah. Talk to me about goals for track. Obviously, you're probably in the best shape of your life, but you've got a 9:06 3K steeple PR, and whether that or the 5K, whatever your track events. Talk to me about what's this winter and spring, what the goals are for track.
Sure. So the focus is going to be on the 3K steeple. Just that's kind of how I can help the team most come outdoor conference in terms of scoring points, things like that. So in indoor season, it's just going to be kind of prepping for that. If I can help out in the 5K indoors, great. Try to nab 8th place at the American Conference and try to add to the team score, but it's going to be tough. We have a lot of really good guys on our team, and there are a lot of good guys in the conference.
Sure.
So that'll be a dogfight. Looking at the steeple, the goal is to qualify for regionals, and then I'd like to be on the podium at the conference meet, score some points for the team. So those are the main things. The 5K, whatever we need to do to score points for the team.
Sure.
Again, doubling back from the 3K steeple, but just score points in both events, and then try to make it to regionals.
And did you start? Obviously, you redshirted your whole freshman year, but did you start working on the barriers and your hurdling skills and the steeple as a freshman, or just pick that up in the last year or two?
Yeah, the plan was to run outdoor and steeple freshman year, but I got dinged up. I had a stress reaction, so we ended up redshirting. So I was debuting in that event as a sophomore, but I was training over the barriers, freshman
Sure.
year and sophomore year too.
And you mentioned some iron issues kind of derailed your senior year, the last
Sure.
month of your senior year track. Have you had any of those reoccurrences, or have you got that figured out?
Ever since then, I take some liquid iron periodically, a couple times a week, and try to eat more spinach and have a steak every now and then. So
Sure.
that's kept the problems at bay, which is really good as the mileage has gone up from high school and stuff. So really happy to not have any issues with that.
Yeah. And talk to me a little bit about the program. Obviously, a lot of Missourians have made the trip down to Tulsa and had a lot of success down there, and you've got a lot of guys that weren't in your top 7 or redshirted this year. The Jackson Schwartzes of the world, and Christian Bakers, and Colton Palmer from Warrensburg, the Jackson from Jeff City, Christian from Kirkwood. But just talk to me about that kind of pride of not only St. Louis area guys and many St. Louis guys that have made the trip down there to run for the Golden Hurricane, but also just the Missouri and what that kind of keep that that channel or that pipeline flowing down there.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up at Tulsa just because so many older St. Louis guys were there. Adam Rodriguez, Austin Del Rosso, Tim Rackers, guys like that were kind of part of the reason seeing them have success there was why I ended up coming to Tulsa. And I think the coaches really like to recruit from St. Louis just because they see those types of guys come out. And the younger guys that you mentioned, Jackson, Colton, and Christian, they're all workhorses. They want to be really good. Jackson also steeples with me, so we train a good amount together, and we'll have a lot of FaceTime this spring for sure. So I know him pretty well. So it's good to get in and work hard with those guys. They push us to be better. I just try to set an example for them that like the older guys, Rod and Dell, set for me. So if I can do that for them, try to keep it going. So that the coaches like to recruit from St. Louis.
And what are you studying in school?
I'm working on my MBA right now.
Oh, okay. And you already finished your undergrad. What was that in?
Finance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Any specifics that you want to get into, or want to talk about what long-term life goals are and where you want to take those degrees?
Man, I don't really know.
Yeah.
My fiance is going to be working in Omaha, or
Okay.
going to be going to school in Omaha, so I'll probably just look for work there. The plan is right now to take another year. Since I redshirted freshman year,
Sure.
I have some eligibility to play with. So next year I'll just be at Tulsa running again. But after that, don't really know.
And talk to me what it was like. I know you posted on social media a month ago, I think, over the Thanksgiving break after Nationals, and that you proposed and got engaged. Tell me what that was like.
Oh, it was awesome. I met my fiance. We met in high school and dated ever since. So I knew her super well. It was kind of based on med school. It was either, we're going to get engaged before or after that. And, I just decided before. We kind of talked about it and decided before. So it was super awesome, super nerve-wracking. It was a big week because I did it pretty shortly after Nationals.
Right.
So it was like Nationals, and then you come down from all that emotion, and then I'm like, shoot, I gotta get engaged. Like, man, this is crazy. So it was a big week for me.
Right.
Awesome. It's all good.
Yeah.
Exciting.
And then talk to me about finish up here. What were the biggest things that you learned and took away from your early days of running, whether it was Coach Bernie Sill or Ed Haymeyer at CBC, and what you've learned from them, and then the biggest things or takeaways that you've learned from your time at Tulsa and in the gullies?
So at CBC, the main takeaway that I got from Coach Sill was consistency is key. Like, I remember when I was like a freshman, sophomore, like I'd take a couple of days off a week and not really think it was a big deal.
Right.
And then as I got older and was competing at bigger meets and seeing, what guys at that level did, it kind of struck home. It was like, if you miss a day, you can't, if you miss like an 8-mile run, you can't go run like 16 or 20 miles the next day to make it up. Like,
right.
It's just gone. So just being consistent and finding a routine in which to like run in and be with guys on the team that you like were kind of the main takeaways there. And really that just got carried over into Tulsa. Just the consistency stayed the same. The miles went up and the workouts got a little bit more intense. But just to keep the training consistent day in, day out so that, we can see the results that we did this fall, which was awesome.
Sure. And then what was what was the one or two of the biggest things that you took away or learned from your regional race and running nationals?
Just staying calm and composed. I think when I was younger, I'd make mistakes and get really caught up in maybe big moves that other guys make and try to match them. So I think just running my own race at regionals was really good for me, and staying calm, just keeping the nerves kind of in check. At least as I've gotten older, I've found ways to stay a little bit more relaxed on that starting line. Obviously, it's tough, but
Sure.
Staying relaxed and composed. And then at nationals, I just need to get out a little bit harder, have a little more confidence in myself. But
Sure.
things to take away for next year for sure.
And then last question, what's any advice for young runners that are maybe in middle school or high school and wanting to get better or thinking about running college? What one or two pieces of advice do you have for them?
Sure. For those guys, I'd just say, make sure you enjoy it before if you're going to do it in college for sure, because it can be easy to burn out if maybe you don't have a great relationship with a coach or you don't get along super well with the guys you're running with. So make sure it's something you want to do and that you're super committed to it. And if you do, then just keep that drive, follow that drive. I think you'll go far.
I lied there. Last question, but what's you've got quite a few UK teammates and
Yep.
and former teammates and studs like former Tulsa stud and world class runner Chris O'Hare, the Irishman. And have you picked up anything from any of your foreign teammates that any type of food or sayings that you've kind of grabbed a hold of, or any of the most fun thing you picked up from having guys that are come here from all over the world?
Yeah, those guys are a lot of fun. They add a lot to the team. Otherwise, it would just be a bunch of like Missouri, Texas, and Oklahoma guys. So it's super fun to have them over. They say instead of very, they'll say well. Like if it's like very hot, they'll say it's well hot, which like really confused me.
Right.
Like the first time I heard them saying it, I was like, "What are you guys talking about? I don't get it."
Right.
But those guys are awesome. They're super fun. We love having them around. They add definitely a lot to like the team culture and stuff.
Sure. Well, Reed, appreciate the time. Thanks so much, and good luck with the indoor season and outdoors. And it'll be fun to see what the Tulsa Hurricane distance power can continue to do on the track and on the hills and Dale next year. So appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, thanks. Looking forward to it. Appreciate it.
Thanks.